Hi, it's Kevin Markman. Welcome back to Relationship Ready Talks. Thank you very much for joining us. And today, we have David with us. Thank you, David, for coming.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. What is your full name, David?
Full name is David Osei.
David Osei.
I'd like to think I'm a friend of Mark here.
We are friends,
So,
yes.
Glad to be here.
Yes. All right, well, thank you very much for coming. Tell me and our audience a little bit about you and what you would like us to know about you.
Okay. Essentially, if I should say, origin story. I was born in Ghana, raised in Ghana for the most part. I moved to the U.S. when I was about 14. Moved here with my little brother. My dad lived in Texas for a period of time, mostly for high school, then went to college in Pennsylvania and seemed to never leave Pennsylvania. Now I'm in New York.
Get out of Pennsylvania to New York,
Yeah, finally got out and keep going up north, so now I'm in New York working. So about this work specifically.
All right. Well, we're glad you're here, and we're glad you could join us for this as well.
Thank you.
And this is about relationships. So tell us about the beginning of a relationship that you'd like to talk about with us today.
Okay. So I think the relationship I want to talk about is one that actually that was pretty significant to me. Happened in college. Prior to college, I've had maybe one or two relationships then, but nothing very significant. I would say. I think there are some people that come into your life, and then you have these kind of life-changing experiences with them. And it's just kind of.
So this was a life-changing.
I felt like it was. It helped mold or shape me as far as who I was becoming. You're kind of in your formative years a little bit, so it was kind of important in shaping my view and relationships and how I want to be in one.
Well, I'm intrigued. Tell me about the beginning of this relationship. Where did you first met?
Yes.
How did you first connect?
I played sports in college. I was doing a lot of work study at the time, and I was on a soccer team, and there was a girl on the track team that I would kind of randomly see around the athletic facility all the time, and I was one attracted to her, intrigued by her. I kind of wanted to know her, and would have these sort of like very isolated moments at times in which you kind of pass by each other, or you have some sort of exchange that sort of feels like I feel like there may be a connection here.
Okay.
I'm even more intrigued to meet this person.
Okay. That curious to me. Tell me a little bit about an isolated moment. Explain what.
So an isolated moment could just sort of be a moment in which you two are walking by each other. There's no one else. And you kind of can tell between you two, there's this sort of slowing in your walk. There's these pauses. There's these sort of kind of unrational movements that you make, sort of literally inching yourself closer to that person. And you may have some sort of exchange, or it could be as simple as an introduction. But you kind of sense that you both want to share more. You want to talk more.
Okay.
You ask a question that you may not even have wanted to ask, just to keep that person there longer, just
engaged,
to
have, and you're feeling engaged, and they're feeling them coming towards you.
And
so you had a number of these isolated moments that brought you together.
Yes. And each one feels like more engaging, and you feel like, okay, I think, and you're paying attention to people's mannerisms and such, and then you're like, okay, I feel like there's something here. I feel like this person may feel the same way, or maybe as curious as me about me.
That's the openness to it.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
So it started that way, and I think at one point I just sort of reached out to her. I think it was just usual college night, weekend night of just parties and stuff going on, and I just kind of reached out to her where she was going, just kind of get an idea of where she was going to be.
In these conversations during the isolated moments.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. Okay. And I just kind of got an idea, okay, she's going to be in this place, and I was like, and just me kind of casually inviting yourself into her space to say, oh, well, I hope I'm here and hope we hang out in that sort of way, knowing that that's going to be your goal or your agenda for the night.
So you're throwing your intention out there,
exactly.
And she's hearing the intention
on
one of these college nights during the week where hopefully there's a continued outside of these passing in the athletic.
Yes.
Okay. So what happened from there?
From there, I think it was ended up being a long night of me searching for this person, and eventually I found them at a party, and it was just again, they're just what's cool is in a very crowded space, you're trying to create, again, this isolated moment with this person, where it's just kind of tunes out everything. It's just you and the person, hopefully trying to have some sort of meaningful exchange in some sort of way. And I think you're trying to do that to, one, convey how you feel about the person. Like, I'm generally intrigued. I'm generally interested in you. This is how I feel about it. It's not just some sort of meaningless exchange for me. I'm hoping this has some sort of effect on you, and also it has some sort of, I'd say, reward or exchange in return. That being, if you have the same interest in me. So it's
you
kind
felt that as you found her in this crowd after searching.
Yeah, and also alcohol helps a lot. So
it's a lubricant.
I feel like you're more straightforward, you're more direct about your intentions. So it's just simply that way, just letting her know I was interested, and she was like, okay, well, if you are, and she expressed equally that she was interested. So it was just like, okay, and it's kind of cool in those moments when you know you're kind of interested in each other, like nothing else matters. The party of where you wanted to be doesn't matter anymore. It's just about
so everything
time.
fell in the background.
Yeah, spending time with this person. So it's like, oh yeah, okay, let's just leave and just have this isolated moment, just me and you. Then,
so it's becoming more than a moment. It's isolated. It's expanding.
Yeah,
and it's shifted from passing by to an intentional.
Yeah, and it's a good transition point because you know that because it's a pivotal point in which either person is going to show equal interest and it's going to go somewhere, or it's not, and you may realize, okay, maybe it's not. The whatever feelings or intentions you have are not reciprocated.
So you had that pivotal point.
Yeah, so that was that pivotal point. She was like, yeah, let's hang out. Being like, oh, okay, no, let's actually go hang out, me and you. It was back at her house, which we went, and it was just a lot of conversation that night. Very cool for me is to sit down with someone and have conversations like that. What was cool about it was just how I clicked with her in the beginning, of just, you feel yourself around someone. I like to always think like it's calm. It's a very calm moment. You're not anxious. You just feel comfortable in that space.
And that's yourself.
Yeah, you feel comfortable with yourself, and you feel comfortable with this person. And just the exchange and everything, and the mannerisms of how you two interact and how you move towards each other, the vibe that you give to each other. You're both actively trying to make each other feel comfortable in that space. I really enjoyed it a lot, and we ended up chatting all night, and that's how it kind of started with us.
Okay.
And from there on, it was just every day just trying to spend more and more time with each other, trying to make an excuse to see each other. And it just sort of built on from there. And I think within a couple of weeks of just more and more just trying to spend time with each other, I finally asked her out. It was actually a big stage for me because I don't think I'd actually asked anyone out before.
Okay.
And I had to make this formal statement.
So that was the first bold movement you made to intentionally go, yes, I want this, let's make something happen.
I want to date you. I want to be in your life some sort of way, or be a priority in your life in terms of relationship.
And that was a verbal thing, a non-verbal thing?
That was a verbal thing at that time.
Do you remember in what way you said it, or kind of the vibe?
Actually, because I think sometimes in relationships, when in the beginning stage, there's a lot that is unsaid sometimes, because you talk a lot, but you go off of a lot of verbal cues, non-verbal cues, in which you spend so much time with someone, you feel like, okay, I think we're together now, but it's unspoken. So, but sometimes
knowing, but you're not sure because you haven't spoken it.
Exactly, it's not actually been verbalized. It's not. You know, it will. I like to say it won't hold up the court of law because it's not been formalized. But you have that sense with each other. This was kind of a moment in which she was saying, of that, okay, what are we? But it wasn't so much a what are we. Let's declare what this is, or what our intentions have developed for each other. And it was me saying, okay, all right, let me take this moment to do something I've never actually done before. And I asked her out, and it was basically just asking her to be my girlfriend at the time. And she said yes, and it was just kind of, again, I think when you're kind of with someone which you match with really good, to me at least, I think it feels calm.
That's the more you. So you feel a whole other level.
Yeah,
it's smooth and
you're not too bothered by it. And even if you sort of said no, I don't think you'd have a strong reaction to it in a negative way, because you feel like you have an understanding of this person, and she does of you. So it was kind of that when she said yes, and I remember being very nervous, because I wasn't nervous for that relationship, but I was nervous for everything else after it. This was a period of time in which I was bonding a lot with my friends, hanging out a lot with my friends. We were mostly all single, and all of a sudden I'm about to break this pattern in the
and you feel like the couple amongst the single friends.
So you start realizing how you were worried so much about. You bring all these things into a relationship. You bring all this anxiety because I am worried about how my dynamic is going to shift with my friends.
Okay.
And you start bringing all these things into it, but really it's separate from it. It's just your own anxiety about the dynamic.
And question of priorities and how am I going to juggle friends and this relationship.
Yeah. Okay. So that was something that immediately popped in. I was like, oh, okay. I think now I have to tell my friends. I don't know how I'm going to tell them what happens to us now.
Okay.
But I know I very much want to spend time with this person.
Okay. So what did happen to you now?
What did happen to me
now in that moment, and then after that?
Yeah.
From there.
So, breaking into my friends was it was very uneventful, I'd say. You have it built up in your head, like how guys, it's the typical like guy relationship of we're gonna make fun of each other all the time. So it's like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna be made fun of. Here we go, and I just kind of said it, and you're like, yeah, we know you're not here. You spent time with this person.
Okay.
And then we went from that to just like, okay, and I think at first too, you're feeling a lot of emotions. One, wanting to spend time with this person. Two, this anxiety of the changing dynamic with your friends, and then you feel guilty as well in some way. I'm not spending so much time with my friends. I'm spending
the time and the priorities.
Here, but I really want to be here. How do I think at that time I didn't know how to balance those things. I had no idea. It was my first time experiencing it. How do I actually balance this out?
And this was the first relationship where you asked somebody to be together with you, and it was a committed work together thing.
Exactly. So it was it seemed very important to me.
Mm-hmm.
So that was something I was sort of struggling with in the moment. And I think you end up having to make some choices, or you think you have to make some choices, hard choices. That is, I have to pick this person over this person.
Mm-hmm.
It is now, I think, differently about that. It's not that you really have to make those hard choices. You just have to know how to balance things out.
Okay.
Then it was just like,
you didn't know how to balance it out.
Like I'm going to have to choose. Friends or this person, because you're spending less time with one. If you spend time with one, it's less time with the other person. And then, you're bringing this guilt into yourself, like, oh, who am I going to spend time with? And then you create all this pressure around it.
Okay.
So the relationship itself ended up being very, very important to me, because it helped me grow. Looking back on it, I think when you're in college, you're sort of in this bubble in which you're protected from a lot of things. I think college is great. It's a great social experiment, because you're in this bubble in which you get to make mistakes,
mm-hmm.
but you don't quite have to pay the full consequences of it, unless it's very dire. You're protected or shielded from a lot of things. A lot of things you have to worry about in the real world, I should say.
So it's a step towards the real world, but not quite the real world yet.
It's like this. It's like this playing ground. You get to. It's this playing ground module where you get to like tinker with things and see how it works.
Okay.
So in this bubble, you're not worrying about real pressures of like work, bills, certain significant relationship dynamics, or expectations of you by family, friends, of where you should be.
You're away from family or friends.
You're in your own bubble. Yeah.
In this bubble. Okay.
What's sort of unique about the bubble, and looking back on it, is it creates this pure sense of whatever you're experiencing in that moment is pure. because it's not tainted by all the outside stuff.
Oh,
You're in the bubble. It's pure.
So that makes it special.
So, yeah, exactly. So what I was leading to is that this was my first time I felt that I was in love with someone. And I always describe it as the purest sense of love I've ever felt for someone. It's just two people meeting, clicking. Everything just sort of made sense about us. I was just able to spend an entire day with this person, and it didn't seem like a demand on me. It was just I enjoyed doing this. You felt you fed off like each other's energy in a way. It was so pure to me how it was happening, and how it was
beautiful description.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the time with this person and just sort of learning different things about each other. This person was also older than me, so I felt like I was learning a lot from someone that was older.
And had other experiences with relationships and stuff like that too, or learning just because of age and maturity, or what?
I think because of age and maturity and the things that you have to learn. I may be a little bit biased, but I think sometimes women are better. You could say caregivers, but better nurturers. In a given space with a woman, I feel like sometimes your mistakes and the mistakes that you make as you're growing as a person is more forgivable by them. They give you that space to feel comfortable to make your mistakes and learn sometimes.
Because she's accepting you for who you are, especially in this pure space where you can make mistakes.
Exactly.
Okay.
And with someone even more mature, woman, I mean, she wasn't that mature. She was like 2 years old.
But 2 years at the time felt significantly different.
2 years of experience that she has over me, of life experience that she has with me. They teach you certain things. And the few things that you learn is, one, you're going through this formative years of who are you as a person in college. You're trying to find yourself. What am I going to be? Who am I? What do I care about, essentially? And here I am with someone in which we care about similar things. You also are starting to learn things like relationship values. That's something I never had to think of before. In a relationship, what are your values? What things you care about?
So what were some of your commonalities and your values that you were discovering in this?
So this was where I built this, and I've had a lot of time to think about this. At a time, during this moment, I didn't have this formulated yet, but over time, I've been able to develop this.
But this was the beginning of it.
This was the beginning of it.
Okay.
I kind of developed this sense of what I think relationships are, or how they're structured.
Okay.
And this is just like my own theory. I think.
Love to hear. Yeah.
I think you have relationship involve, one, you have fundamental things. So if things that are fundamental to you, that essentially means things that you need, you require in a relationship. If you don't have those things, the relationship does not work.
Okay. So what would be an example?
So for me, where I am now, the things are, I think number one is I like a kind person. If I'm not with a kind person, it just doesn't work for me. I can't. That is a relationship. If I'm meeting someone and they're not kind, I have to tell myself, no matter how much I like this person, I don't have this fundamental thing. It will never work. You don't have the foundation. Yeah, exactly. Okay. You don't have the foundation of the relationship. One is being someone who's kind.
This person was kind.
This person was very generous. Yeah. I think it also relates back to. I think the fundamental things also relate back to your own life experiences. I feel like my life, I've had so many people come in who were generous to me to get me to where I was, that I just have a good appreciation for kindness. So it became a fundamental thing, and to find that in a relationship, I really like
for you, and then it became so in a relationship.
Yeah.
Okay.
Two, I would say someone who's I think has a sense of humor and funny in a way. She was the first person that just blew me away as far as sense of humor. What was cool about it was how, in her space, she taught me how to have a better sense of humor. She brought it out of me.
Of your own sense of humor?
Yeah, of my own sense.
Okay.
Just by watching her express herself.
Okay.
I learned how I like to be in a relationship. When it comes to, I like to be funny. I want my partner to be funny. I like to be goofy with my partner, and just having this shared sense of being comfortable and being able to do things that you weren't ashamed to do.
And there's a vulnerability.
Yes, exactly. You have to be vulnerable to do those things. That was exactly what she did, was letting out that vulnerability to be able to do these things and not be so anxious about it. Okay, what if this goes this way? Is this person not going to like me? And knowing that
was a
none
safe
of those matter.
space for you and her to be able to do that.
You can do this, and it's okay. If it's funny, relax. If it's not, sure, try again.
It's okay. It's a mistake.
Okay.
Try
Just
again.
And she really developed my sense of humor in that space, and I thought she was the funniest person ever. I could spend a whole day with her. She was very good at storytelling. She would tell stories just off the top, just random stories. It doesn't have to make sense.
It was engaging, and
very
entertaining, and connected you.
Exactly. You could listen to her for days. So she really helped me develop that. So I feel like sense of humor is really important to me in a relationship. The third thing is also being driven about something. I think just having some sort of thing that you're aspiring for. It doesn't. Most people attribute it to like a job. I learned that it doesn't necessarily have to be a job. It can be anything in life. The kind of person you want to be. Yeah.
Okay.
This is the kind of man or woman I want to be. These are the themes in my life that I want to keep. These are the qualities or the skills that I really want as a person, and just kind of working towards those. She kind of found me that because she was very driven in that way. But what I liked was she wasn't just driven by herself. She was like also trying to inspire me to be driven in that sort of way.
By reflecting stuff about you, or by holding you accountable, or by...
Yes. So I think number one, by setting an example of how she would go about her own whatever career she wanted and how she was pursuing it.
Okay.
To her life goals of the kind of person she wanted to be. And
of
just
qualities.
Yes. And just expressing those qualities to me. So I saw what they looked like, and I'm going, oh, okay, I like these. I want to be able to develop these myself. And I admire her for those qualities. So she essentially said it. It's like how you have a role model that sets an example for you. Like, I want those qualities.
And did she admire you as well?
Yeah, she did.
Okay.
It was just this very reciprocal relationship that I was getting for the first time. And this, again, pure bubble that was just great. So those were kind of like the three main things that became fundamental to me. So I think, one, you have fundamental things. And then the second thing I think you need is, not need, but I think are like supplementary things. I call them supplementary because it's like, it's things where you don't necessarily need, you may want, but you get to bargain on them. So depending on the type of person you're with, depending on the situation, where you are and what phase of life you're in, these things are supplementary. So these are things you have to talk about with your partner and say, okay, I care about these things. How do you feel about these things?
Okay, and can you offer them? And can I bring them?
Exactly.
Okay.
Where you both sit on that subject matter becomes where you either have to say, okay, maybe I want this thing, but this is not something I'm going to get here because this is not that type of person. I am willing to forego this. Or there's a situation in which you're willing to bargain on this and say, okay, I can meet you halfway. Your partner is saying, I can meet you halfway here, and I can meet. I mean, I get all of this, but this person is willing to work on this with me.
Okay.
And I think then there's a third situation in which it is, okay, this person cannot offer me this thing that I think I want here, and therefore, because of it, I don't think I want to pursue it. I think once you do that to that supplementary thing, it becomes a fundamental thing for you.
Okay, and you negotiate that to see if it can be supplementary or negotiable.
So I think you learn in that space things that you thought may be supplementary to you, but become fundamental to you. Like, oh, depending on the type of relationship, the type of person. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
With this person in this relationship, this thing is actually not supplementary. It's actually fundamental to me.
Which an example of a supplementary that negotiate would be what?
Something maybe supplementary is, or
maybe something in that relationship that you did.
I think sometimes something supplementary for me that I had a difficult time dealing with in that relationship was like public display of affection.
Okay.
and this comes to like I feel the love languages.
Mm-hmm.
So her love language, part of it was the showing of affection, and I don't think I was very good at that. Or I don't think
and physical touch.
Yeah, physical touch
in public in relationships.
Yeah.
Public. Okay.
So this was something that we had to talk about and me figure out. Okay, this is something that I'm not so good at. But how do I feel about this thing? Because this person is telling me that they need this and in this relationship.
So for them, it's a fundamental. For you have to decide whether it's a supplementary.
And me, and essentially me coming to decide, you know what, I want to work on this. This is something that I want to be better at. And I want this also for this relationship. Okay. So
you were able to do that?
I was able to do that, and her helping me do that.
Okay.
Of just slowly building my I don't want to say tolerance or my comfort for it. Okay. And you begin to get an appreciation for something that you didn't think you hadn't given it a try yet, or you didn't know, or I thought, I don't really need this.
Yeah.
But it turns out it's something that I actually enjoy. So I got to learn. It became something supplementary to me.
That you then took to other relationships and went,
exactly.
I appreciate this. Exactly. Also, it's not a fundamental, but I like it if I get it.
Yes.
Okay.
And then I'll say maybe something supplementary from my end that was being offered was, I think, maybe time. Because I said this was a very formative time in which I was also getting close with my friends. How does spending time with this person care? Because I wanted to spend time with my friends. And being able to, because I was like, it's important for me to spend time with my friends as well. I'm getting close with them. These are going to be my best friends, and her sort of deciding, okay, what do we give priority to? Is my time with you such a priority that I don't think we need to spend most of our time here, or is our relationship, our time together still a priority, but I can give enough time here
and have enough quality enough quantity of time to be able to do that.
And she sort of, this was when I was kind of learning, you sort of don't kind of have to make these hard choices of choosing. You just kind of have to manage it better. There's definitely conversations you need to have
through your communication to be able to negotiate.
Yeah, I think when you're not having it, then you feel like, I need to have these hard lines. And also, it depends on the type of people that you have around you. If this is someone who may not allow you to bargain that time, then you have to make that decision of, is this someone that I really need in my life at this period of time, or am I willing to bargain and give this person this time, and therefore forgo certain things. So I think we're learning all these things in that space.
And that all sounds like you're describing that bubble, the learning, the growth, the learning in relationship, and you're negotiating it. It sounds like it's all going really, really well.
Yeah.
So did that last, or did it? How come it didn't stay, or where did it go from there?
So this relationship was very interesting to me. It lasted for about I want to say 1.5 to 2 years or so. Halfway through our relationship, she ended up traveling to study abroad. When she went to study abroad for a semester, this was a period of time where it felt like I was now with my friends, and I could just spend so much time or get it all in as much as I could before she came back.
Because the time factor, you had the time away.
But it was a great time throughout the entire thing of just how we connected. And when she was away, we didn't really keep in touch that much. But eventually she came back after the semester.
But you stayed connected while she was away?
We stayed somewhat connected. It was...
but you were still in relationship?
Yeah, we were still in a relationship. Yes, we were still committed to each other. When she came back was when things got interesting. Because in a way, this is why it makes sense about the bubble. She had left the bubble. In a way. She went to have these experiences in other places.
And you're still in the bubble?
I'm still in the bubble. So she comes back, and she's very different to me. Things feel different with her. We're still the same person. We still have that hint of things that we connect on that brings us together. But you can tell we're getting pulled in different places. I'm spending more and more time with my friends. I'm really enjoying that time there. She's enjoying whatever experiences she's had whatever influences that has given her and where she wants to go in her life, she's now focused on trying to get herself there. She was also older than me, so she was about to graduate, so it's time for her to take those next steps. At the time, I really didn't understand, and I'll come to explain this later. I just thought, man, she just is so different to me. She was asking, certain things that I knew about her were changing in her way, as far as her focus of what she wanted to do, where she wanted to go, the kind of person she wanted to be. She was more focused on
where she was next, instead of together with you in the bubble.
Exactly.
Okay.
And I too the same, because as she was away, I'd grown so close to my friends. Things that I cared about had changed a little bit.
Okay. So you changed differently also.
Exactly.
So you both felt different.
Yeah.
But we're still working well together.
Yeah.
We're still.
You could tell we were still drawn to each other, because even though we were getting pulled in different places, we kept trying to come back to each other. Okay. So we kept the relationship going. We see each other whenever we can.
And it was still good, or it had ups and downs, or what?
I think for the most part it was good. I was still struggling with things like, a few lessons that I learned during that time was, one, I didn't have a good sense of prioritizing someone in a relationship.
Okay.
I was spending time with friends.
Because you were juggling friends,
and all other things.
Didn't need to prioritize while she was away, and then had a hard time bringing it back in again.
To me, in my mind, I'm with this person. Of course I'm with this person. I can go do all this other stuff. No, you have to prioritize that person. You're with that person for a reason. To prioritize that person. Yeah. I didn't know how to do that at that time. And it hadn't even dawned on me that it's something you had to do. Two was not only prioritizing someone, learn how to appreciate someone for the things that you're learning with them, the experiences. You're both in a phase of life in which you are together. That period of time is forever in history as your period of time together. Yeah. You're going to influence each other. You're going to learn things of each other. I didn't know how to appreciate those things. I think also because I didn't know I was learning these things.
Okay. So you were just kind of going through.
I was just going through.
As you're older and can look back on it, these are some things that you know. But at the time, you were just like, I don't know what's happening. We're different.
We're different.
And, I don't know why we're different. She feels different. I'm hanging out with my friends. There's nothing wrong with that. Yeah. So where are we going?
The third thing was she was asking a lot of very intelligent questions about her future and about the next step. When you're in the bubble, you're just thinking about the bubble. You're not really thinking about what's next. She was asking very intelligent questions of where she wanted to go, and I really didn't care so much about that. I was having a great time here, so I was like, why think about it?
Was she asking whether you would be included in that, or whether you were part of that, or just about for stuff for her, and you were like, no, I'm in the bubble?
I think that created some contention, because she would have to, if she graduated and was still together, she'd be away wherever she went. And that was something we didn't quite discuss much, but we knew, there's some conflict here. Okay. Yeah, there's definitely going to be conflict here whenever it happens. Okay. We kind of know it's in the background, but we don't really touch on it. Okay. Every now and then we have a few conversations about where you're going, blah, blah. But it was like, in all, looking back at it, it was like, I don't think we really minded if it were to happen that way. We were still very happy for each other. Okay. So where I'm going with the third point is that, like I said, something that happened too was she was questioning sort of, I shouldn't say questioning, but she was exploring her sexuality as well, of what she identified with, the kind of partner she wanted to be with, and I think that was sort of new to me. I was very okay with it.
So you were clear on your sexuality at the time?
I felt like I was clear, but she definitely taught me how to question myself or get a better understanding of who I am, what I identify with, because she was going through this and asking herself these same questions, which to me in the bubble is like, why are you asking me? So you kind of know where this is, like who you are. You're with me.
So you had a clear confidence about who you were in it, your sexuality, and your sexuality and your relationship to her. Yeah. She was questioning whether you fit within her sexuality, or
no, she was questioning herself.
Okay.
Herself. But I think looking back on it, I realized that when you grow up, sometimes you have an assumed idea of your sexuality. This is what I know, this is what I'm into. But you truly never questioned yourself.
You assume.
You just assumed, I like this, so this is what I am. Okay. What she was doing was truly questioning yourself. Do I like this just because I learned that I like this? Or do I truly like, what do I truly like? If you take me outside of what all this incoming influences.
So she was questioning
what do I truly like?
her identity as a hetero, as
Yes.
a binary, as
What
bi,
exactly she was,
what it was, and then where would you fit in that?
And where, so another point of conflict was, okay, well, depending on what she's going to be, there's going to be some conflict. If it's different from what we have now, I'm not going to fit in this picture. So where am I?
And you don't have a say in that.
Exactly. And I didn't have a good understanding of sexuality in the first place. To me, it was just either white or black. Oh, you're either heteros, gay, or whatever it is, and either I don't fit this box. If I'm not in this box, then I'm not going to fit. I didn't have a good understanding.
So you didn't have a good answer or understanding of, I thought you were hetero, I was hetero, we were together.
Yeah.
You're female, I'm male. Those are the boxes that I know of.
These
are together. You're saying there's these other boxes.
Yeah.
What's going on with that?
I feel like these are the boxes of elements you grow up with in kind of society, and then you realize things are on a spectrum. There's so much in between those boxes that touch.
And that was your first experience.
That was my first experience of someone giving me a glimpse of this spectrum. And I wasn't recognizing it. So what this comes back to is that essentially she had figured it out, and she was figuring it out, and she knew that she wanted to explore. I would say she knew that she wanted to explore, but we had this. Over that time she was abroad, we had declared our love to each other, but we fell very in love with each other, and it was like you could see it on our faces because she wanted to explore. I wanted to have this time of enjoying the bubble, and because we knew we loved each other, we just couldn't let each other go. It's like
it felt like you were supposed to.
Yeah, because you feel like each other's home essentially. It's like this is my home. I can't leave my home now.
So she came back to home with you.
Yeah.
But she had visited outside of the bubble and went, I actually should live outside of this bubble.
Yeah, you can't.
And you were like, no, I know this bubble. It's safe. It's comfortable. You're supposed to be in it with me. And what happened from there?
So eventually we had this. I mean, I feel like everyone should, at some point in their life, break up with someone they're actually in love with and don't hate. I think it's a great learning experience of learning to let go of someone that you absolutely want in your life. It's easy when you hate the person. It's easy when they wronged you. That's easy. It's clear cut. You did this, you're out.
So this was really hard.
This was hard. It was my first time having this tough conversation of, I don't think I want this, but I know why this needs to happen. It needs to happen for us, each of us, to grow. And also, now I can look back and realize, things also happen for a period of time. Not everything's meant to last forever. Things are meant to happen within phases of your life.
This is forever.
When you're in it, you enjoy it so much, you want it to last together.
Yeah.
But certain things have a period of time in which they're supposed to go. So this was me now also experiencing that, okay, this thing has this period of time. We're supposed to meet at this period of time to help each other out of this.
And you realize that at the end of the relationship, or looking back at it now? Or
looking back at it now. So eventually what happened was we had this really cool moment of, I remember she was getting closer to, it was like her last semester, and we kind of sat down one day. And everything was bliss for us. But in this bliss, we kind of sat down and it was like, I can tell everything's different for you now. And I can tell how much you want to go outside of this and explore outside of this.
So you were still connecting on being more disconnected.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I was like, I think, I didn't know I was doing it at the time, but I didn't realize she had taught me how to do this at the time too. I was like, I think I need to let you go to do this. Because here it's just, you love me and you don't want to leave, but it's forcing you not to grow. I'm holding you back. You need to. It was my first time having a conversation like that. I couldn't even believe the words out of my mouth. And she expressed the same thing.
But it felt right.
It felt completely right. There was never a doubt in my mind that we were going to be cordial to each other. It didn't feel like. It still felt like we're going apart. separating. So you still feel the hurt of that, but in some ways it really brought this like appreciation for each other. Like, oh my God, I know I truly love this person because I want the best for this person. That was my first time experiencing that.
Because you could let her
I
go.
could let her go, and
Okay. And it wasn't conflict, and it wasn't. It was
did,
hurt, but it wasn't struggle. You knew and had clarity
exactly
of what it was supposed to be.
It was so. I would almost use the word beautiful if that happened, and how we just, even afterwards, we just related to each other. It wasn't any conflict.
Okay. And you still stayed connected after?
We still stayed connected afterwards.
Till this day, or no?
To this day, no, not so much. We've just kind of been so separated, we're living kind of different lives. But at that time, yeah, very much we were still connected. Very
through her graduation? And
yeah, even so.
Okay.
So what this eventually taught me, that breaking up part and then letting her go, was now when I look back on it, I realized what was happening. She had gone outside the bubble. She had come back. She was different.
Okay.
To me, she was very different. She wasn't. There was pieces of her that I recognized, but there was so much of her that was changing. What I didn't realize at the time was she was just growing. I was just stuck.
Okay.
She had grown. She had gone out. She had experienced things.
And by grown, for either one of you, within your friends or within her, like, outside of that, were you still in the relationship together, or did you go experience other people during this and then come back together and kind of go, oh, we're different because we're
no, we didn't. We didn't. We're still
on your own in your own growth.
Yes,
you were different.
Yeah.
Okay.
But what it made me realize was she had experienced the world in a way that it forced her to grow. She had taken that leap to grow. Because I hadn't grown and I was still in this budding stage, didn't realize what was happening. I just thought she was different. This person wasn't different. This person had just matured a little more.
Okay.
That's what it taught me. So now I can recognize, oh, this person is actually mature and they're having certain experiences that are influencing them in certain ways.
And is that humbling for you?
It's very humbling for me, yeah.
Just growing differently? Or?
Yeah, because now I can recognize it in me if I'm going through certain changes that are going. It's not that I'm being very different or I am original, unauthentic to myself. I'm going through a change that is forcing me to grow in a certain way. Okay. I need to be able to recognize that change. I'm not really different from what I'm just
part
evolving.
Of the beautiful experience.
Yeah. So when I look back on that one, that was something really cool that it taught me there. We remained friends afterwards until sort of life just, you started living very different lives. And I remember I was still schooling at the time, and there was a period of time where we started to connect even more. And I think when we first broke up, because I initiated it, it felt more like a heartbreak on her end. I felt like she felt it more. I could have made that up, but I felt like she maybe felt it more.
That was a story in your head.
That was
based on
at least that was a story that I was carrying.
You had and that you saw from her.
It always feels like if you initiated it, then maybe.
And you initiated the "I need to let you go."
Yeah.
So it felt like she was in heartbreak.
Even though she had mutually said, "I kind of agree," it was the same thing.
Yeah.
So later on, maybe a year or two in between, we started talking more and more. There was this feeling that maybe we were going to get back together. And it was really cool because I was like, man, this is going to be this
explosive.
We've been able. I think I've grown now. I think maybe I'm on a similar phase to her that we could get back together. And I remember this day actually because I woke up one day and I just felt different. I just knew. We had talked to the point where it was like, okay, any day now, like literally our next phone call or our next meeting or whatever it is, we're going to be together. It's just you have that sense. And I woke up on this day and I just felt very different. I just knew something was wrong, and immediately I sort of knew what it was. Essentially, I came to find out that day on like social media that she was in a different relationship.
Okay.
And the reason why I bring that up isn't because I felt she had wronged me in any sort of way. I bring that up because that was the first time I felt the heartbreak for her. Because the first time I thought I was...
Your own heartbreak.
Yeah. I thought I was heartbroken.
Yeah.
And now I am truly
Because you were
actually
building
feeling it.
back
Yeah.
to we can get what we were looking for
Exactly.
at the time. I've grown.
I've grown,
and
yeah.
No, she's grown differently than I am now, and that was the
It
heartbreak.
became more clear. Okay, we are actually, yes, we will always be connected because of this pure time we had in this bubble, but we were quite different. We're on different trajectories
Clearly on
now.
different trajectories and different paths.
And that was when I felt it. I really felt it. So it made me understand what she felt.
Okay.
I was like, oh, now I am really feeling it. I now understand it. And I think we used to like writing stories together. Like I said, she was very good at telling stories. So I kind of wrote her a story, and I let her know. Like I think I always love you. You meant a lot to me. I know things have changed for you, and you want to go in this direction. You want to be with someone else. But I essentially just thanked her for just everything, and just it was such a learning experience for me that someone would teach you those things. That I was so cool that I thanked her all throughout.
And that was the letting go.
That was the letting go. And she eventually wrote me back one day, and all she said was it was a difficult time in that period because she was having to choose between the past of what it felt like and really going after
you.
Yeah, which was me, or really going after the future, just as this person.
And she chose her future.
Yeah, she chose her future, and it was really a great choice on her part because now she's married, she has a kid now with this person, and she seems very happy. So it was, again, teaching me again. Sometimes you're so driven by your emotions that you think you have to choose your emotion. It's not so much that you have to choose your emotion. It's everything coming together. How complex everything looks, and you deciding what's best for you. If you're always going by your emotion, yeah, you might get it right a couple of times, but your emotions can be wrong too. You need to take your emotions into account as well as everything else that's going on, and be able to pick what you feel like may be the best thing for you.
And that's where you learned that, and you continue to do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So she set me up for I think she set me up to do better as far as the next relationships that are to come.
So do you feel like you've been able to be that to people in other relationships since?
Well, Mark,
for yourself?
the answer is no. That's the cool thing about this whole kind of life experience thing that we all have is I came to this realization. I was talking somewhere. I was like, it doesn't matter how many lessons you learn, you're still gonna mess up on the same lesson again. You're in a different phase of time. You're in a different you've evolved differently. That same problem or that same thing is presenting itself to you in a different way. It's a different dynamic. You're going to mess up on it again. You're only just trying to do your best of trying to learn each time how to do it better, and hopefully gain tools that if you should encounter it again in the same form or in a different form, to be able to recognize it better and say, okay, I recognize this one.
Okay.
I can at least hopefully stop myself from making this mistake.
And that's the best you can do.
That's the best
and that's
you
what
can
you've
do.
tried to do since.
Yeah, so it's just, it's not the excuse to treat people, but it's really what I learned. You're really trying to, you make the same mistakes over time, but they all look different in certain ways. You also
So it
realize
takes you a little
that,
while to become aware and realize that. Yeah.
and you look back on those mistakes and you're like, okay, maybe this time it took me this amount of time to recognize it. Now I recognize it faster. Now I do this and this better. Even now, it's become one of my fundamentals. This mistake that I used to make has become something fundamental to
And
me
that's
that
the growth.
I initially ask when I'm entering something to make sure I'm setting myself up for the best.
Okay. So you're more clear on you, so you enter relationships more clearly.
Yeah.
But then you still run into walls and be like, oh, that's a thing that I should have learned already, but I'm in a different phase and in different circumstances.
And I think letting myself know that you're always going to run into issues is better than telling me, oh, I think I fixed myself now. It's going to be great.
Okay. So you're not fixed.
You're not fixed. Yeah. You're getting there. I don't think you're ever entirely fixed. You're just better.
Okay.
So I'm always telling myself that I'm still going to run into issues. Can I do a better job of recognizing it? Being able to tell what it is, and then being able to dig in my tool bag of things that I find and say, okay, all right, this is how I want to approach this with the best interest of mine and that person in mind, So that's kind of
And that's your approach. And
Those are
the fundamentals of where you learned that. So.
It was definitely a very pivotal relationship for me because I don't think I've had any other relationship in a bubble like that. Okay. And it was the first of its kind. It was the first time
you had the bubble, you had the fell in love, you had the maturity to be learning as well as growth in it.
Yeah.
Okay. And have you had elements of those in other relationships, but just that one was transformative?
Yeah. Certain positives and negatives from coming out of that. You come out of this great love experience that you have, and I think one of the mistakes that people make, which I made a lot, was you compare your next set of loves to it. You can't necessarily compare loves to each other. They're happening with different people. First of all,
that's a lot of expectations.
Exactly. Different phase of your life. Different time and space with different. Especially when you're outside the bubble, there's so much of else coming into play that you have to juggle. It's different. If you're comparing two things that are not alike, you're going to make a lot of mistakes there. Right. You have to take each one for what it is. So I came out of that and I was like, oh, this was so great. Each one should be exactly like this.
Okay.
Now,
and then you learn you have to juggle these.
Exactly.
I'll take this element.
These are different.
Okay.
What was good here that helped me? Can I use it here? Does it apply when I'm with this person? And then you kind of learn that. So that was one of the things of learning, okay, each love is different, wherever it is. Yeah. Another question I had to ask myself was, how many people can you love? Can you keep loving? I don't know. That was a question I had, and someone answered it for me, actually. And I love the answer. Their answer was, I think, because I remember I was at a place where I was like, I don't know if I have any more left to love someone. I feel like I've ran out. And she was like, that person was like, I think you can love as many people as much as you're open to. And that was, I thought of that, and I was like, man, yeah, if you're open to the idea of it, you're willing to work towards it, you can definitely have it again. It's not like you have this limited amount. If you think it's limited for you, then it's going to be limited.
It's going to stay that way.
But if you're open to it, if you're open to having it again, you can actually find it again. So that love itself became very different from the other pieces of love that I've had. A quick summary of the other two would be I feel like I've genuinely loved three people in my life. The second one was more like opposites attract. So this was a different situation in which I was completely different from this person. Okay. Everything felt different. Where initially, when my first love, things felt similar with that person. Now things are completely different. Yet you feel this force or attraction to each other.
So how does that create your own bubble, exactly, based on opposites?
So it's now learning how things opposite to you actually can attract, and you form a relationship off of that. It was being able to learn things and
play off of them and be like, I'm not like that, but I can see what you are like.
And that's what really helped me also understand that you need fundamental things, because it actually doesn't matter how opposite you are. As long as you two have those fundamental things together,
then you can make it work, whether you're similar or whether you're opposite.
You don't have to be similar, you don't have to be different. Okay. Do you have the core fundamental things together that you both want? So that was it. The third one was, it was kind of like a learning experience. It was the first time I had to learn to love someone. It wasn't there in the beginning. It didn't feel like...
You didn't feel in the beginning, but it grew.
It wasn't like I met this person and throughout it was like, I love this person. It was more like, it was more like, I absolutely want this person in my life. I know there's something here with this person. There's so much coming in or influenced by this where you are in your life and the phase and things. Can I filter this out and truly learn if I have love for this person and what that looks like? It was by far probably one of the greatest learning experiences of just trying to learn my love for someone.
So it was there, but you had to filter out all the other things
and
to be
learn,
able to see it and have it grow.
Yeah. Okay. I had to learn about this person. What is it about this person, really?
And be open enough to them based on the other stuff to be like, I'm not feeling it right away.
Yeah.
What do I need to be open to?
The big difference from that and the first one was, like I said, we were similar. So it's easy. Me and you both enjoy this. We both have this in similar. And it feels like you don't even have to talk about anything else. We have these things in similar good. Whereas now you're meeting someone which, what is it really about this person that I like?
And you have to talk about
You
that.
have to talk
and be
about
able
those
to do
things.
that.
You have to
Okay.
learn about that person. The things that you hate about the person, the things that you love about that person. When you two are put in a different situation or confronted by different issues, how does your dynamic look like? What do you have to learn
What do
how
you hate? What do you love about that?
exactly.
And how do you grow that?
Yeah, and how does that dynamic shift when it's confronted by different things? And you're learning all these things, and it was big for me to learn that.
Yeah.
That took me a while. It was a long road of just slowly. It doesn't all come at once. It just it comes in like.
But you've stayed open to it.
Yeah.
And so based on these 3 experiences, you stayed open, learned what your negotiables are, what your fundamentals are, and then that there are possibilities if you have the love in the beginning, if you're in a bubble or not in a bubble, or if you don't have the love right away, you can still grow it.
Yeah.
And those are lessons you've taken into your life now.
Exactly. If I could give like an overall statement of all of that, I would say, so I think one, relationships are truly you're learning about yourself. You're really learning about yourself. Things about yourself that you think you knew already, but what you have to realize is that when you're with someone else, there's someone else in that dynamic. Those things have to give in a certain way. So now you really get to learn about yourself. Who are you really? Do you allow any give on this thing, or are you stubborn in this way? What is it about you? What qualities do you really have when it comes to dealing with another human being? Who are you by yourself when this person is not around versus when they're around? So you're really learning about yourself. The second one is I think you're learning about someone else, how they fit into your life and how you fit into their life. You're learning how to deal with another human being. Not just another human being, another human you care really about.
And that's emotions and skills and
exactly,
their experiences also.
And the third thing is something that I'm really into now is learning things for how complex they are. I think as human beings, you want to simplify things. We usually want to say this is either black or white, it falls into this box or not. I have this boundary, it's this or that. But really, for me, I think things are complex. What I want to learn is I'm looking at a situation with this person. What are all the components coming together to make the situation of what it is? This is the truth of the matter. These are all the things at play. How are they shifting? How are they moving? How are they interacting?
And trying to appreciate the complexity of it and the different things that you have to move.
And really what you're doing is learning how to navigate through those complex things and finding your way, finding how you are with that person. And you're just navigating as you go. Each relationship is just a navigation.
Yourself and the relationships that are around you. Okay.
So those are the 3 key things of, okay, this is what's really going on. And it allows me to, one, I think, be a better person in a relationship for myself and for someone else. And also gives me some sort of standard of how to go by. And what I also like about that standard is it allows room for growth, for you to change things. I may be
it's a process, but it's a flexible process.
Nice. Exactly.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like you have a great process. You learned a lot from some fundamental things that hit the heart and hit the mind and give you challenges as well too. And I hope you stay open to that, and I hope others are open to your story as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for having me and letting me share.
David Ose, everybody. Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right.
And if you enjoyed this, then please like, subscribe, and share. And do comments or questions if there's things that came up for you. Then please let's continue the discussion and continue to be more and more ready for relationships. This is Relationship Ready Talks. I'm Kevin Markman. Thank you very much for joining. We'll see you next time.